What's going on, everybody? This is Dante Pittman here, and welcome to episode 11 of the Power Ranger podcast. I am your host, Dante Pittman, as usual, rocking the Cobra Kai merch over here,
Look at you.
and we got my co-host. That's you. We got two co-hosts, as a matter of fact, starting with at the bottom from Disney Brains, JWR.
JWR. Good to be with y'all. Very excited that we very excited to be with you again this week.
Yes, and we have our another co-host. We have also from Disney Brains, Dragon Raider X9.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm
Good
excited to
afternoon.
talk about the episode today.
Yes,
Great.
we are. We got some topics today here. And we have here your predictions and hopes for Fan First Tuesday. Then we have get y'all the images of the Super 7 Wave Free Power Rangers action figures.
Nice.
And then also we'll discuss episode 6 of season 2 of Down to Fury, which is called Jam Session. So all right, so without further ado, let's get it underway here.
Actually,
All
wait, yeah.
right.
Um. So wait, Dragon Rider, you have seen Jam Session, right?
Yes, I took notes. I have stuff to talk about.
Great. So
Good.
I was proposing that we might do things a tad bit differently this week. So usually what we've been doing is that we've been discussing discussing Dino Fury at the tail end of the show, but I figured that we would do things a little bit differently and maybe talk about that first, or either that or the ultimates or the wave 3 of the Super 7 action figure set, and then save I guess the big discussion for the fan first event last.
That's fine. That's fine. All right. That is fine. So without
Yeah,
further
I'm
ado,
not picky.
without further ado, let's discuss episode 6 of season 2 of Dino Fury, and it's called Jam Session. So I'm going to let Dragon Raider X9 go first. Go ahead. What's your thoughts about this episode here?
Well, just to clarify for viewers, I haven't. I've started catching up on episodes of Dino Fury, but I'm still only a little ways in. So
Okay.
there's a lot I had to pick up on this episode awfully quick. That
That's
said,
fine.
I'm really interested. Right off the bat, we have Void Knight talking to this Santura, and I'm interested as to Void Knight's motivations. He does, by his own words, appear to want off the planet more than anything. But I also like that he's kind of having to put on that he's not actually the big bad boss necessarily that he makes himself out to be, but he feels he has to in order to keep. And I just feel like I don't see that sort of thing in Power Rangers all that often, or at least it's been a while. So I'm kind of up for that.
That's I guess I should start by saying that I really especially like this episode, and I guess to build off of what Dragon said, I really like what they're doing with Void Knight here. I like how now that he's got his wife back, now that he's more or less done what he set out to do. He's he's now his main goal now is to just, okay, I got what I came for. Now let's get off. Now let's just get off this planet. And what you were saying about, like, now the line about him not really about his armor kind of just being as I like I really like how they're using his armor in sort of like a metaphorical way. Like it is a literal suit of armor that he puts on to wreck shop, command the Sporix, fight the Rangers, all that. But it also represents the I guess I guess you could say the image that he has built for himself as this big, strong warrior, when really he is not he's not a coward, but not somebody whose first inclination is to go to war and cause destruction and just be. He's not a. I guess he's not a brute or a thug, but he has built for himself this appearance and the persona and reputation of somebody who's this brutal and commanding, scary thug. When really all he's really using it for is he's using it as a projection of strength.
That's good. That's fair. That's a great point there.
Good stuff.
Now,
I like it.
now it's saving the best for last for me. I like this episode too. I like have a change of heart from Void Knight, as she said, and I like how. I mean, we don't often see bad guys become good guys in like Power Ranger seasons prior to this.
Not often, though. Except, well, the only exception, the only major exception being oddly enough somebody who actually resembles and has a very similar backstory to Void Knight, Korak, but Mystic Force.
Yes, yes.
You know, I've seen
Yeah.
Mystic Force, but a lot of it's vague in my head now.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Anyway, yeah, I like this episode. It's very well thought out. And I like how it's teaching us a lesson. You know, Javi's the musician. I like how Javi stand up for himself.
Actually,
Like-
yeah, it was yes.
Yeah.
Oh my!
And that was actually kind of cool. That was continuity from season 1. Which is,
Actually, building off of that, I was perhaps one of the biggest surprises of Dino Theory season 2 is how much of a bigger role Javi has gotten this time. Like we'll get more into that later on in the season, but excuse me, this season has done a really good job of giving him more of a presence on the team. I like how they actually had Javi call his dad out for being a hypocrite. And
straight up.
Yeah, I was surprised that they even had him saying that in the script, or that he maybe in another season or during and maybe in another season or another point of the earlier point of the show, they would have said they would have maybe alluded to him calling him a hypocrite, or he would have said it in a more roundabout way. But here he just straight up calls him a hypocrite to his face.
and that was it. Yeah. I was like, yeah, there you go, Javi.
Right.
There you go.
And while I would have maybe liked for them to explore this over the course of more than one episode, I did like how they handled it. I like how they handled it here. I like how we actually had Javi work up the courage to confront his father, and I like that we actually saw the warden how we actually kind of saw the warden reconcile with that, recognize that he hadn't necessarily been there for his son, and I guess moving forward we can see that he's at least going to make the effort to try to be more supportive of Javi. It's a far cry from Wes Collins and his dad from Time Force, but but I think it's handled a lot better. It's handled a lot better here than it has been in other recent seasons.
It didn't come off as eyeball rolling to me.
Exactly. It didn't come off as like a stereotypical lesson of the day episode. There was no moment where he was like, "Gee, I've learned an important lesson today." It felt mostly natural.
Yeah.
So one thing kind of stood out to me early on about Javi. Full disclosure up front, I have ADHD, so I have a
So
tendency
do I. God, yeah.
to see things that may or may not be there. I was talking early on about wanting to, exploring new instruments instead of just sticking to one at the time. That feels weirdly familiar to me.
It does. It does.
When
Like
I was in marching band, I was percussionist, drums, and one of the thing I liked that when we were doing concert is for different songs I get to swap out to do different instruments. Not necessarily big parts, but little parts are important too. Yeah.
Right. Now, although I don't know if I can fully relate to that since I mostly did I mostly stuck to clarinet. But yeah, I can understand. There's something oddly related relatable about Javi's desire to be multifaceted and be talented at a lot of things. It's kind of I like that he I don't know. It's a small detail, but one that I kind of personally recognized within myself and appreciated, which I guess in turn which in turn I guess kind of made me personally I guess kind of made me gravitate towards Javi more. Um, I don't know if that was intentional on behalf of the writers, but it's a nice detail nonetheless.
It is. Oh, and also
Yeah.
towards the
Yes, it
end
is.
when they're
Very.
reconciling at the end, one line I really liked is when the warden throws out the word career and Javi just kind of nervously says it's a scary word but doesn't dismiss it entirely. I don't know. I like that exchange.
Right. I think it's a subtle reminder that that he's still I don't know if he's a teenager, but he's still a young adult who hasn't entirely figured out his life yet. Like the idea of committing and sticking to something at his age or at this point in his life still feels I guess kind of intimidating because he's still not entirely sure of what he wants to do or
Mm,
what he wants to do when he's not saving when he's not saving the world and being a Power Ranger. Like as it's a like being a Power Ranger is Javi's job, but he's still uncertain of what he wants to do for his career, like his actual life. He's still maybe his mind is still currently on the mission and not on what am I going to do next in my actual life when I'm not saving the world or fighting bad guys with giant robots.
it's a struggle.
All right. Well, you know, Megas. Oh wow. Ooh. So
So
yeah, that was. So
I
yeah, that was a fun episode. I
I
enjoyed
do
it.
have a
I like.
couple. Sorry, I do have a couple small notes to throw onto the end regarding this episode.
Sure.
One, I do like how it's one of these, the old sitcom plot where you have two dates at the same time, but it's not a stupid one.
Right.
Javi doesn't look bad and ridiculous for the whole thing. It's just a bad situation.
Right. Right. Of course.
That that said, if there's one scene in the episode that felt maybe a little to me, is when Izzy decides to watch the live stream approximately 3 steps away from her father.
I know. Yeah. That was maybe that was like would it have killed you to maybe a lot like maybe make sure that your dad wasn't in earshot or maybe turn around when you were looking at the thing.
Mm,
It's a really bizarre and I guess kind of dumb coincidence. Although to be fair, that's nothing new for Power Rangers. It's just
true. And if that's the low point of the episode, I'm not really complaining. But
right, right.
that's all I have. That
All right. So yeah, I like this episode. Love how Javi stood up for himself. Love, and I kind of like the jam section though. Javi
Right.
really pulled it out like.
yeah, it
It
was pretty good.
felt like it felt like we're at a rock concert. It felt great.
Hmm.
Anyway, now let's talk about the Super 7 Wave Power Rangers action figures. Let me share my screen so y'all can see here. Okay. All right. Let me see if y'all can share. Let me see if y'all can see the screen. There you go. All right. Here we go. Super 7 Power Rangers Ultimate Waves free figures are up for pre-order. All right, the third wave of Super 7's outstanding Power Rangers Ultimate figures has launched with 7-inch scale figures of the Black Ranger, Blue Ranger, Dino Megazord, Gangster, Lorset, and his throne. Details about each release can be found below. one with pre-order links. All right, here you go. They say you'll never forget your first sword. And from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Down, Megazord is the one that started it all. Standing at a whopping 8 inches tall, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimates. Ultimates Down Megazord figure features premium sculpting and deco and comes with 2 miniature Mighty Morphin Power Rangers figures wielding the Mega Power Sword along with a Mastodon shield. Evil stands no chance. It includes 4 interchangeable hands, 1 power sword, 1 Mastodon shield, 2 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, miniature figures, Pink and Yellow Ranger, and 1 Metal Megazord Power Core. All right. Yeah, they fought the Power Rangers. If the Power Rangers thought that Rita Repulsa was bad, they were in for a rude awakening once the Mighty Lord Sid arrived on the scene. This 7-inch scale fully articulated Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimate Lord Sid figure features premium sculpting decor. It comes with interchangeable hands, a sea staff, growth bombs, and snake accessories. All right. The Emperor of all he sees needs a throne, befitting of his benevolence, and no chair is more sinister than the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimate Lord Sid throne. This detailed, perfectly scaled throne will be the centerpiece of your movie.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Looks
the original
good.
Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. The original Mighty Morphin Blue Ranger, Billy Cranston, had the most to overcome, facing fierce battles despite not being a national athlete like his peers. Quick with his mind, Billy is able to whip up adventures just in the nick of time to help the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers thwart the plans of Rita Repulsa and her evil cohorts. This 7-inch scale, fully articulated Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimate Blue Ranger figure features premium sculpting decor, interchangeable head and hand, include the 2 halves power lances, quarter power
Yes.
lances, toyetic power lances,
What was that?
power crystal, open power
I'm not
morpher,
leaving.
foam gun, and blade
No.
blasters.
Oh, I missed the power crystal. Neat.
All right, whether using his martial arts skills on his own or teaming up with the other Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Mighty Morphin Black Ranger is always ready to protect Angel. This 7-inch scale, fully articulated Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ultimate Black Ranger figure features interchangeable heads to represent both Zack Tyler and Adam Park, as well as a variety of iconic accessories, including the Power Axe, Toyetic Power Axe, Power Crystal, Open Power Morpher, Dragon Shield Arm, and Blade Blaster. And there's Finster. Being locked away for 10,000 years, Rita Repulsa's most loyal henchman is finally free, and his Finster and his monster manic created countless putty patrollers and other monsters to harass the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It includes a soft goods mock, a putty pig sculpture, a king sphinx sculpture, magnifying glass, and putties. So what y'all think? What do you guys think?
They're neat.
That's all. That's a
Okay,
lot.
there
It
we go.
looks nice. I wish not really much, not a whole lot to say about it because well, I don't think I need to go into it again. It's not the first time we've seen Mighty More. I I guess I'm kind of looking for a way to say it in a way that doesn't that it looks nice. I like the paint decos, the details, the accessories. It's all good. It's just that I'm kind of at the point where any merchandise revolving around MMPR just doesn't really do anything for me anymore. Doesn't mean I hate it, doesn't mean I think it sucks or that I'm so sick of all this. It's just that yeah, I'm just kind of not as it doesn't get not as excited about it as I guess I used to be.
That'll happen, yeah.
But again, it looks nice. The figures the figures do look impressive. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to knock it or trying to say, oh, this looks terrible. They look great.
Yeah.
And I mean, and for as much I guess for as much crap as much crap as I've talked about the overexposure of MMPR, Sorry, I just cannot talk today. But for everything that I've said, I will more than likely pick up at least one of the figures in this set. Probably the Lord, probably either the Lord Zed or the Dino Megazord.
Here, Dante, can you scroll down and let us take a good look at the Finster figure?
Yeah, sure.
Thank
I
you.
will. Yes, sure it will. Even a minute there.
Oh, that actually is pretty nice.
It is.
I always liked Finster and
It
it's
is.
dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Again, I
Now,
can't. As far as toys go, there's not too much I can add without them being in my hands. And, like, it's not that I dislike any of these, but they're also not the sort of thing I'm going to go out and spend money on. And
Yeah.
also, there's only so much space in a house, you know?
Right, right. Actually, funny you mentioned that. You guys can't see it, but I actually have like an entire shelf in my room. And I have an entire shelf like devoted to Rangers to Power Rangers figures, and
Impressive.
I've actually had to split them up and put half of them on another shelf because there's only so much space.
Yeah.
So, and I think that might also be part of my, I guess, somewhat, I guess, casual. That's, I guess, a factor in my indifference. You could say to a lot of MMPR merchandise. Like, there's only so much space, and I'm trying to say that for some of the figures or characters in seasons that don't get as much appreciation or exposure when it comes to merchandising and marketing.
When are we going to get a Hurricane Megazord toy? Is what I want to know.
Good question. Honestly, good question. Hell, when are we going to get? When are we going to get anything, any kind of Ninja Storm merchandise? I know they released the Ninjetti figure, but that I don't. I'm pretty sure that never actually appeared in a single episode of the show. Did he? I don't think he did.
Ninjetti?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't think I'm familiar.
Bear with me 1 second here.
Ninjetti Lightning Collection? No, that's MMPR still.
Oh wait, not Ninja, not Ninjor, not Ninjor. Wait a second. They did it might no I might be getting the name wrong, but there was like a no, Ninja Con, that's what I meant. Ninja Con. I'm pretty sure he never it was a meg they released a wave of Megazord figures, and one of them was Ninja Con, although like I said before, I don't remember him getting appearing in a single episode of the show. I must have been getting him mixed up with Ninjetti. So I meant Ninja Con. For Calero.
See, I was confused because like the Ninjetti is what they kept saying in the first movie.
Right.
Now Ninja Con, I've straight up never heard of that.
Yeah. Like I said, it's branded as it's branded as a nin as I it's they say it's from Ninja Storm, but I don't think he actually appeared I don't think he either appeared in Ninja Storm or Hurricaneger.
Huh. It's weird.
yeah.
And
But anyway,
that gives us, I guess that would provide us for a good segue for our next topic.
yes, it is.
So,
Oh,
you mind if I announce this one?
yeah, go
right
ahead. You know,
So, for a couple of weeks on this show, I've been jokingly lamenting about the fact that there's been a bit of a dry spell for news and official content. Well, we're pleased to announce that drought has seemingly ended for now, at least, because tomorrow Hasbro is hosting a fan event where a, they're hosting what they're calling a Fan First Tuesday. The first, which is this is the first time they've actually hosted an event like this on a Tuesday.
Mhm.
Probably because they don't want it. Probably because hosting it on Friday would be on the same thing as a Good Friday, and maybe they don't want anything to do with all that. But also, this is, if I believe, the first fan event that Hasbro has hosted for Power Rangers since December.
Yes.
Tomorrow on Tuesday, they um on Tuesday, Hasbro Pulse is live streaming the event at 12 p.m. Right after they're pairing it with the Transformers Fan First event at 11 a.m. So the Transformers panel will be at 11 a.m. and the Power Rangers panel will take place on Tuesday. Now, usually at these kind of events, most of them are just it's usually just for unveiling merchandise and mostly just announcing merchandise, unveiling merchandise, or providing an update on what they're going to be releasing next what they're going to be releasing next within the next couple of weeks or months. Now, but I was curious as to whether or not you guys had any kind of let's do thoughts. I guess thoughts going into this event, your predictions for what we might see, and our predictions for what you want to see, and I guess in general where your expectations are for this at the moment. You want to go first?
Yeah. I'll let.
I'm afraid I don't have too much to add. I'm still trying to catch up with how these events work, and in general, I'm mostly just content to take things as they come.
Right.
Like I
That's
try
cool.
not. Okay, I don't want to turn this into a let's spend another half hour bashing on Megaforce, but
No, no, no. We don't mind. We don't. I don't. Well, I don't mind at this point.
But if there's one thing I took away from that season, it's that maybe it was a mistake to build something up in my head before it even existed.
Yeah, I guess that's the danger of expectations and whatnot. And I guess I guess since we're on that topic, I've just my expectations for this are relatively low. Like I said at these events, it's mostly just for merchandise and toys. They rarely that's usually what we usually get at these things. Now they rarely, if ever, do anything beyond that. Like I think it was the week before Dino Fury premiered on Nickelodeon. They gave us, I think they had a panel with the cast, and they gave us like a sneak peek, a few posters, and the theme song. But for the most part, for the most part, like I said, there usually aren't too many surprises. And even when they are talking about the merchandise, it is usually more times than not stuff that has already been announced previously, and now they're just showing it to us officially. It's most of it's just confirmations. There's rarely, if ever, any kind of like big surprise, like actually, no. I can't really think. I can't really. I was trying to think of an instance where they announced a figure or a wave of the Lightning Collection or whatnot that wasn't listed before the event was hosted. There might be one, but I'm drawing a blank at the moment. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of big surprises. I definitely don't think we're going to hear anything about the 30th season or the 30th anniversary special. It's not impossible, but given the history of this event, we're most likely most of it's going to just be stuff that we have heard of and just confirming that.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
What about you? What are your thoughts on this, Dante?
What is my thought? Well, just like you said, I don't think I will hope too much. Because, as you said, this is mainly about toys and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. They might announce the next season of Power Rangers here,
They could.
but but that's just
Wi-
but
Wishful
like
thinking.
yeah, hey,
Now,
that's
right,
just
right. Now here's why I'm not I guess why my expectations are low, but I am going into this with why I think we either could get something we don't expect, or there could be, or we might get something substantial. I do think that it's kind of significant that they are hosting the Transformers panel and the Power Rangers panel back to back. Now that's not confirmation of, oh, they're going to show us the next season, or they're going to show us a clip from season 2 part 2. No, that's just me speculating, or that's just me I look at that and I think, there's a good chance that they want their audiences to that they know their audiences overlap somewhat, and they want to, and I guess that they have big announcements for both um for both franchises. Perhaps the team that's working on Transformers merchandise also collaborated with the team that's working on Power Rangers merchandise. It could be that. Now I don't know what the official. We never know how long these things are in advance, but there's a good chance that it could be that maybe it's slightly that it's longer, that because it's been so long that we've done and hosted one of these panels, it could be longer than the average fan first event, so that they have time to go over all the news or any of the big surprises if there are any. At least it's that is another part of the equation, or something else that I am keeping in mind. Perhaps they could, like, it might not even be like major show news. It could just be a new wave of the coming wave of Lightning Collection action figures. Maybe it'll be a season that they haven't gotten to yet. Maybe like hope like ideally a season that they haven't covered, like Ninja Storm or Lightspeed Rescue. All, or hell, I I would take it as a win if most of the merchandise isn't predominantly MMPR. Although, in my heart of hearts, we all know that's not going to. That we all know that's not
Yeah,
going to happen.
for better or for worse, the
oh hold on, 100% true says, can we all appreciate JWR for the dope haircut, bro?
Oh, thank you, my man. And yes, I appreciate the shout out.
Appreciate it too.
But yeah, ideally in a perfect world, we'd be getting a mix of all these. We'd be getting a mix of seasons from the Disney era, maybe some from the Zordon era, and with a look. Here's the thing: it doesn't so much bother me that there is a flux of MMPR merchandise with each new wave and each new announcement. Again, it is the most well known and iconic season of the show. I get that it's going to have a bigger presence in the merchandise than most other seasons. It wouldn't bother me so much if there was I'll say this much: they have been better about trying to balance all this out with than I guess Saban was a couple of years back, and when Bandai still did the merchandise. It's better than it used to be, but it's still kind of a prevailing problem. Now, again, as I said before, most of the merchandise, I think we should all expect that a lot of the merchandise is going to be MMPR themed. But I am holding out hope that we will get that there will be a surprise or two, maybe representation for a season that they haven't covered yet, maybe something or like the barest details about the movie or the movie that Jonathan Entwistle is working on. We could get something. What I'm trying to get is that we could get something, but I don't think we should expect anything big or major until Power Morphicon.
Yeah.
That's probably fair.
Right. Oh! On a side note, I'm still waiting for them to release that Lightning Collection Silver Space Ranger figure.
Yeah. One of the two says Dragon Raider is like a shadow lurking in the corner.
Only the shadow knows.
Wait,
Appreciate that.
before we do, I'm trying to run down all the. So far I'm trying to run down the list of all the completed of all the completed teams in the Lightning Collection so far. Bear with me here. So we have more than covered Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I think they've covered all the Zeo Rangers. In space, I'm pretty sure they've covered all of SPD. Pretty sure they'll also soon cover all of. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is that there are still a lot of. What's the word? A lot of gaps in between certain seasons, and which ones have been which ones have been represented, which ones have gotten any kind of representation at all. And I feel that's probably not going to change very much. That's probably not going to change a whole lot after today, but we'll see. Are there any? I know I just talked about how we should keep our hopes, our expectations in check, but JWR is giving the show on his shoulders. Well, I mean,
JWR carrying the show on his shoulders. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that, but I know I talked about this. I know, like I said, expectations low, but do you have any kind of hopes or I guess anything on your wish list that you would like to see covered or addressed tomorrow?
If they are going to announcing merchandise for years outside of Mighty Morphin, I guess I'd honestly like to see some from seasons from the past decade or so, because even if I might not be necessarily interested, I know there's a whole lot of fans who did come into it with Samurai and Megaforce, and who probably have very fond memories of that.
Right. Actually, that reminds me. I think they have more or less covered all. They've released figures of all the Dino Charge Rangers. So
Nice.
I guess there is that. But yeah. Now, now, granted, I don't think. Granted, given that given precedent, I think it'll be a very, very, very long time before they cover seasons. The less popular seasons like Turbo, Operation Overdrive, and especially not Megaforce. But
I get it from a business perspective. You want people to actually buy the toys, but I don't know. Even the least popular seasons do have their fans, and it would be nice if they got a bone thrown at them.
Right. I do think it's likely that we could see Samurai represented soon. Those if only for the costumes and designs. It could happen. It'll happen one day, eventually. Bro, although I'm not gonna lie, if Megaforce if they release if the Lightning Collection covers Megaforce before they get to something like Ninja Storm, I'm probably going to that's probably going to make me laugh harder than it should. Or hell, could you imagine if they finally start covering Mystic Force and the first figure they release is Nick.
I didn't hate Nick.
I didn't hate him.
I'm-
I didn't hate him either.
Like, I wasn't necessarily in love with him, but I've heard people talk like he's one of the worst Rangers ever, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah, right. I'll say this much. I honestly, after Megaforce, I know it's fun. It's so funny how much of past power PR has, how much of it I see in a different light after Megaforce. Like, Nick Russell used to be my least favorite Red Ranger, and then Troy Burrows came along. Operation Overdrive, I felt, was not only like the worst, like not just the not I the worst season of the show and like the worst anniversary season, and then Super Mega Force came along.
AWR would kill it on the Joe Rogan podcast. I think he would kill it.
Oh Jesus, no.
Oh, God, no.
No.
I feel like Joe Rogan doesn't deserve that much.
No.
Yeah, no.
But-
Sorry,
yeah.
I wasn't sure, but no.
But yeah, but I guess yeah, I think we'll get to the they'll get to the lesser known and lesser loved seasons eventually. They have to. Law of averages says that they have to run out of MMPR characters and merchandise at some point.
Eventually.
In the Lightning collection, at least. I mean, what?
You can knock 2 figures off of Scorpina alone.
Right.
She just becomes a giant weird monster when she grows gigantic. They never explain why. It's just a thing, and I love it.
They never come to think of it. They never really did much with all that much with Scorpina in the show. She's in a couple of episodes in season 1, a couple more in season 2, and then she just kind of disappears off screen.
From what I understand, they actually did get her an English actress for season 2 for a couple episodes, but then she ended up having to walk away from the show for some reason or another, and they just kind of dropped the character.
Right. Yeah. Oh wait! Oh God! Wait! Just watch! They're gonna be like, wait, Lightning Collection, Wave, whatever. Ricky from MMPR.
Oh, Lord.
Rick. Maybe they'll release figures of Ricky. What next? Jesus, the Native American, Tommy's Native American friend from Zio, his twin brother.
Jeez.
Oh man.
But anyway, I guess I have one more news here. Moving it up.
Oh, what is it?
Power Rangers has revealed the epic. Power Rangers revealed epic charge to 100 event. A new era is dawning in the world of Power. Wait, hold on. Let me share my screen real quick so y'all can see here.
Much appreciated.
Sorry, we got to do that over there.
What's this?
All right. Come on. There we go. All right. A new era is dawning in the world of comics. And today they have their first exclusive details about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers event entitled Charge to 100. Charge to 100 started this month in Mighty Morphin number 18, Legacy 90, from writer Macro Ultran and artist Moises Hidalgo from Dark Blood, Power Rangers 18, Legacy 91, from writer Ryan Perro, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TMT, and artist Marco Reed. And the story will continue in both ongoing Power Rangers series until we reach the epic conclusion in special issue number 100 in September. You can check out the 2 new launch covers for Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin below. All right, Mighty Morphin 18 will feature a main cover by In-Hyuk Lee from Amazing Spider-Man, and a variant covers from Inoue Carlini from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Monica the You, Me, You, Love in the Dark, and Rain Gonzalez from Batgirls. Power Rangers 18 will feature a main cover by Gerald Parle, ex-Deaths of Wolverine.
Nice.
Velocity, and Nucleo from Seven Secrets, and Connie Maltese from Mighty Morphin. You can find these official description for charts to 100 below. There it is right there. All right, celebrating 100 more phenomenal issues. The epic Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comic book event Charge 1 to 100 will unfold in the upcoming issues of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, along with special one-shots as the Power Rangers and Omega Rangers join forces with some familiar galactic faces to battle a terrifying new cosmic threat that's rising from the depths to threaten every living thing in existence.
Question.
Hmm.
Should I have any idea who the Omega Rangers are?
Yes. Go ahead. You know me.
So it's been a while. The Omega. So it's been a while since I'm currently keeping up with the run, and the Omega Rangers, from what I remember, were I think introduced after in the aftermath of of Battle for the Grid, and I think they were. I forget exactly who they are, but I forget exactly their exact backstories. But I believe they are actually, instead of floundering about, I can just Google it right here. Oh man, let me see this right. Let me see this right here. Okay, so the wiki says that the Omega Rangers are an ancient faction of Rangers operating in the most dangerous and remote areas of space. They were introduced in the first part of the Necessary Evil arc in the original run from starting with issue 32. They were so basically they seem to be they are more or less alternate versions of the so two or three of the original Power Rangers. So Jason, Zach, Trini, they are versions of them from an alternate universe.
Okay.
More or less. That's more or less.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Well. All right. Let me continue reading this here. It's absolutely incredible to think that we'll reach 100 issues of our phenomenal Mighty Morphin Power Rangers comics this September. When they first launched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 1 in 2016, they knew they had something special in the works. So it's truly an honor to celebrate this milestone with all the fans who have supported their stories for the past 6 years. This milestone event will lead up to one of the most explosive issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, with even more special appearances and heartfelt moments than ever before. So hold on to your seats as we charge to 100. Mighty Morphin number issue 19 is United in Power Rangers 8.
Now I'm keeping up with the comics pretty early on, not intentionally, just kind of fell off it. But it is legitimately impressive that they stuck around for 100 issues. That's nothing to sneeze at.
No, it is not. Especially in I guess these days you're lucky if you're currently if you're working on a comic run
hold on, Burn Vision Truth Necro say, hey y'all, hope everybody doing well. Interesting discussion on Spot. Yep.
Well, thank you, Vern.
Thank you, Vern.
Thank you, Vern.
Yeah, it is impressive and remarkable considering how niche how Power Rangers how niche Power Rangers is as a franchise. B, considering that most times you ain't so lucky. Usually comic runs these days tend to be pretty. You know what? You're not always lucky to get past. I want to say 10 or 20 issues. Like if you get within like double digits for certain comics, that's considered a no. Wait. Like these days, anything up to like 20 or 30 issues is considered considered a decent and solid run on comics.
Right.
Especially in the wake of how the industry has changed post-COVID. But I was it escapes my mind at the moment, but I believe this series started in 2016.
Yes, it did. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I thought.
That sounds
Okay,
right.
right. So I jumped on this when news of like Battle for the Grid came out. Like that was the impetus for me to I should start checking out read this book at the beginning so that I have some context for this event. And that was the catalyst for me for this book becoming a regular read to me. There was kind of a period after I think it was the story after Battle of the Grid where I kind of where the series kind of waned for me a bit, but it did get better. It did slowly get better after that. Yeah, I don't really have much to say other than I'm looking forward to seeing how this seeing how it ends. Well, okay, it's not going to end. They're going to keep they're going more likely how this run ends because they are almost certainly going to start the series anew with a different writer in a couple of months.
Yep. Upstairs. Whew. That was an issue. Well, I guess that's it. Does anyone have more thoughts about this before I end it right here?
No, I think we're good.
I have one thought.
Oh,
It
sure.
is somewhat it is somewhat tangential, but when I was watching Jam Session today, I briefly saw the evil technician guy. I think he is Shyster.
Slider.
That him. Anyway, he reminds me of a lipstick monster from Mighty Morphin Season 2. And now everyone else has to see that too.
Right. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much for putting that for drawing those dots and putting that mental image in my brain.
You're welcome.
Yes.
I mean that genuinely, by the way.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, I guess that is it here for this episode of the Power Rangers podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you guys like this, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon to get notified every time I go live or I upload a new video. Also, go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All right, thank you, JWR, for coming out.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Always. Thank you, Dragon Raider X9.
But of course, had fun.
Of course.
Yes. And
next week we will obviously discuss whatever they revealed to us at tomorrow's I almost said Power Morphicon at tomorrow's Fan First Tuesday. Yeah, you can guarantee that we will talk about that in depth, regardless of how much or how little we get from that.
Yep. All right. And yep, until we see y'all again next week, let the power protect you.
Always.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.